if anyone's going to do this, I'm third generation cop. I'll look into it for you. Like, I promise you, there's no corruption. Nothing's happening. And then came back to me and said, I'm so sorry. The corruption is that high up. I'm so disgusted. I'm leaving the police force. And please don't contact me again.
Trigger warning for everyone who is listening to Quinn Carnegie's courageous story. Her story is about her experience with human trafficking, which entails witnessing rape, genitalia, and being drugged, and so much more. Please, please, please take care of yourself as you're listening, and there will be information in the show notes for support, guidance, and anything that you need regarding human trafficking. So let's dive in and hear Quinn's story. Hello, my wonderful beasties. It's Tina, your host. Welcome to the Courageous Inner Beast, the place where you get charged up with courage by calling in your inner beast. Today, we have Quinn Carnegie. Hi, Quinn. It's nice to have you. Can you please introduce yourself?
Oh, sure. My name's Quinn Carnegie, author of choreographed court case memoir, A Life of Corruption. And gosh, I don't know where to start.
Thank you. Oh no, that's all we need. It's totally okay. So thank you for being here. And so what is your one courageous story that you would like to share with us?
So I have been through a lot. I have been a victim of human trafficking. And that came about as a result of I was in a pretty vulnerable state at that period in time.
Mm-hmm.
So my mum had passed away probably several years earlier. And so it was just myself and my daughter. So I didn't have that extended family looking out for me. And I also, which I didn't realize at the time, I also had a B12 deficiency. So I was very easily manipulated, and when your B12 is that low, then your brain isn't really working properly. So
more like just something out of nowhere, if you always like struggled with that growing up too?
No, completely random. I think someone said to me afterwards, when someone close to you dies, it can have like really big consequences on the body, and they're not always the same for everyone. So it could have been as a result of the shock when your mum passed away, that's what's caused the drop in your nutrient levels, or my doctor said to me, your levels should be up at least 500. And even though it's still technically in range in Australia, my levels got as low as about 193, somewhere around there, 98. And yeah, my doctor said to me, you want to keep your levels between 500 and sort of 700 PMOL, I think they call it. So I had met Sam Withington and through high school, and he had been in and out of my life, and it was quite a dysfunctional relationship, let's put it that way. We were friends, and well, I thought we were friends, and it started with me being waking up in the middle of the night and feeling like I was being like electrocuted, basically, is what it felt like. And this went on for a period of 3 months, and I was calling the police like all the time and getting so pissed off. I even had one police officer that was saying, have you taken your meds? I'm like,
Oh my
excuse me, I don't need to take fucking meds. There's someone on my roof, like I can hear noises. There's something going on. And I kept calling police. I had some elderly next door neighbours, and because like it got to the point where I was literally thinking like I was going crazy, because, you know, I would literally wake up in pain and couldn't see anyone. I could hear noises. But in the end, someone said, tell your neighbour, tell them, like, because at least they can keep an eye on you too. So I told my neighbour, and excuse me. So she said, please don't ever feel like you need to be there alone. Like, getting to the point literally where I would like try and hide under the table, or like to try and like stop this happening, because I couldn't figure out how it was happening and what was going on. Mm-hmm. And so one night I told my neighbour, and she said, call me. Like, if it happens again, call me. And I called her. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. I didn't call her. I texted her. And because I didn't want to make noise on my end if there was someone there and scare them off. I wanted to try and catch them. And she rang me, and I answered the phone, and she said, I sent John out there. And he said, there's someone on your roof. You need to call the police.
Wait, so another neighbor saw a person on your roof?
They saw someone on my roof.
Ah, so it wasn't you at all. I'm so mad.
Definitely wasn't me.
I know.
They called the police.
Right.
So the police got there straight away. They saw something, and before they'd even, like, someone yelled out to me, stay in the house. Yeah. Because before they'd even knocked on the door, they'd seen something and they'd taken off after this person.
Yeah.
Now, they ended up catching Sam Worthington with a cattle prod. And for anyone that thinks that that's not possible, he was on my roof for 3 months. Well, it was 10 weeks, so almost 3 months. Almost every night, where, I kid you not, I could feel that through the roof. So when I was in my bed, and it was like it was following me around the house. So I could get up and walk around the house. But because of the B12, and my brain literally wasn't working properly at that time, they're like, do you know this person? I'm like, oh my God, hi. And I hugged him. Yeah. You know, like, so this is where it started. And from there, I think he obviously realized, like, that there was something going on, and got me to sign this. It was like I think it was like 5-page sex agreement of all these different terms that 90% of them I had to look up because I didn't even know what they were. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, this is me thinking that I was getting into a more formal relationship with him. But this is with B12, some of the symptoms are like sexually overt, and like I would jump in the car, get 5 minutes down the road and not know where I was going. I would literally have to pull over on the side of the road because I didn't know where I was going. Right? So that's how easily manipulated I was into signing this agreement. I don't have a copy of this agreement. I was never given a copy of this agreement. my understanding is, and I've heard this from someone else, so I haven't heard it directly, is that he either gave it or sold it on to somebody else, and that is how I then became a victim of human trafficking. So I wonder, like, I would be drugged on every occasion, and then I would wake up in various locations. I've been physically abused. I have been tortured. I have been witnessing murder on more than one occasion. So I, on one occasion, was taken on set of the dressmaker. Well, what appeared to be the dressmaker. And they were showing me around, and I said, "What's in that room?" There was a door that they didn't take me into. Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, you want to go in there? We can go in there." But one thing I should also mention, whatever they were drugging me with, it took away my peripheral vision. So I literally had this like very small window of what, like, so I never actually, even though I could hear voices, I never saw who was drugging me.
Yeah. Because you only saw what was in front of you.
Literally what was in front of me.
Not anywhere. Like you said, your peripheral was not in sight during that time. No. Yeah.
So this one time they opened up this door and turned on the light, and there were 5 tables set out in the shape of, like on the top of a dice, like, and 5, you know, like one in each corner and one at the back corner and one in the middle.
Yeah.
And there was a stage at the top, like at the front of the room, and the top left was empty. There was a table, but there was nothing else there.
Yeah.
The 3 tables around the outside, there were other women that had been drugged and were passed out being raped. The table in the middle was, I can only say, a 16, maybe 17-year-old boy that was also drugged and passed out and bent over and being raped. And
so mostly were just like teenagers around, or just a wide range?
I don't know. I remember seeing him and thinking, this is what's going to happen to me. Yeah. You know, and just being like fearful and angry and isolated, not knowing how to stop it.
Yeah.
And I tried looking for a bathroom so I could try and see if I could lock myself in.
Yeah.
And they obviously had thought that that is what, you know, people would try and do. And the lock had been taken out of the back of the bathroom door. So I could feel myself getting sleepy with whatever they'd drugged me with or given me.
Yeah.
And oh, sorry, let me go back a bit. I'm jumping forward. So when I was in there and I recognised the person in the far right-hand corner as Kevin Spacey. So it makes me incredibly upset and angry when I've tried to get in contact with lawyers. I've tried, speaking to so many people, and then hearing on the news that whatever trial he's going through and, you know, what's happening, he's been found not guilty, and
Yeah.
I've tried for so long to get the word out there and what's happened and, what I've experienced. And clearly I'm not the only one that has experienced it, because I've witnessed these other people that have been drugged and passed out on tables.
Yeah.
So surely other people have memories too. At some point they must have seen something to be able to connect the dots.
Yeah.
I was able to not only identify him, but close enough to him to then see that he was maybe 6 inches, and he'd literally pulled himself out of this, whoever he was raping, and was standing in front of me with an erection and naked. Oh, well, not naked. He had pants on, but obviously down enough that I could see his erection.
Yeah.
And when you can see he's maybe 6 or 7 inches and wet and not wearing a condom, yeah, I even went to police with the information and still nothing, crickets. After years of like this has literally been going for years, like 2010 or 11, somewhere around there. Someone said to me, why don't you go and speak to or ring up the smaller airports, because it's not going to happen through a major airport. It would be too difficult. And so I went to, I lived near one of these airports, and I happened to be passing one day and went in there, and I just saw this person, and they're like, well, send through a photo of yourself and I'll check it against our records. But I'm fairly confident I remember you being in here the other day. So not only are there flight records, there's a passport photo of me with a different name underneath, but police won't do anything about it. So how fucking bad is the corruption when police won't get off their ass and do their fucking job?
God damn.
Like, it just,
Hell.
I can't get through to like how incredibly frustrating that is. It's been years, and them trying to make me look crazy and send me to mental health institutes and put referrals in when you go for a search warrant. So then you're too scared to express your anger, because if you do, then they're going to turn around and say that you're crazy and try and lock you up for non-existent mental illness, when I'm just trying to get justice. I'm just trying to get what is rightfully shouldn't be fucking happening to start with.
Yeah, and you said it's been like 2010, 2011 now, so it's
Yeah.
been well over 10 years now since
Yeah.
since when it happened to you and now where it is now, and you're still going to the police and you're still like looked down upon, or like, oh, you crazy. What are you doing? Like, what are you trying to do? You're trying to make attention, all that kind of crap. It's like, no. You just, like you said, you just want justice for yourself and for all the women, and I mean not women, just even like kids or whoever, whatever
Yep.
ages you saw during that time, or even now too, maybe. I don't know. I'm just trying to get justice for you and for them, and then they'll believe you. What the hell?
When I asked for them to do a search warrant,
Yeah.
they put in a referral to the mental health ward, and thankfully they actually took the time to verify it. But it scared me enough that I left the country. I'm like, I'm not going to be locked up for a non-existent mental illness because I can't prove it because police won't do their fucking job.
Yeah.
How can I prove what's going on
Yeah.
when I can't force them to do their job and I don't know how else to go about it. Where do you go from there?
Yeah.
So the mental health place ended up confirming it, and they rang me and said, we're really sorry that you're going through this. We've confirmed it. We would normally send you to police, but clearly that's not an option. So again, where do you go from there? I've tried the what is it, National Royal Commission for Corruption. I think that's what it's called. And for military and something or other. And NAC, the National Anti-Corruption Commission. And I get nowhere.
Yeah.
So when you've been to so many people, and I even made friends with a cop at one point who tried investigating for me and was like, if anyone's going to do this, I'm third generation cop. I'll look into it for you. Like, I promise you, there's no corruption. Nothing's happening. And then came back to me and said, I'm so sorry. The corruption is that high up. I'm so disgusted. I'm leaving the police force. And please don't contact me again.
That one policeman.
That one policeman. So does that not tell you, like, if he doesn't want to be involved, to me, he seems scared. Like, they have I think there's something in their contracts that they're legally bound, that they're not allowed to talk about anything that they've, witnessed through privacy and that sort of thing.
Is that, yeah, I think I've not, that kind of agreement where it's like.
But even after they've left the police force, but if there's corruption, surely there should be something in there that then allows them to go, above that clause and go, hang on a minute, that's not right.
Yeah.
So what do we have to do? What policies do we have to change within our nation to be able to make it okay for whistleblowers, and whether that's police or whoever else, to be able to come forward and actually get justice? Because clearly it's not just me that it's happening to.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure and that's why I started, I didn't put everything in there because, there's a lot that's happened. But I wrote, I'd get up every morning and I'd sort of put down as much detail as I can, and sort of like, let's just put this half an hour every morning. And I wrote a choreographed court case, a memoir, A Life of Corruption.
Yeah.
And so I have put as much as I can in there. And that for me was an insurance policy. Like, if something is to happen to me, it's out there. Yep. It's out there. And that's all I can do. It's about getting justice, not just for me, for the other people that are getting raped. And what about for those people that have been murdered?
Yeah.
Because obviously someone's taking the law into their, well, more than one someone, but there's people that are taking the law into their own hands. Mm-hmm. And that's not okay.
Yeah, it's not.
So one of the people said to me, in my book, when he had information and believed that he had been was being deliberately killed off. And he said to me, please, like, I just want my story told. I just want for those that I love to know that that this has happened and how I've died, and tell them I love them.
Yeah. What was their name?
His name was Olivier.
Mm.
And he said to me, you're not going to remember. I'm like, yeah, I will remember. I'll remember because my best friend's daughter is named Olivia. I will remember.
Yeah.
And of everything that's happened, they're the ones that I find the most difficult to deal with. Like I said, it's not about me, it's about something much greater.
Yeah. I understand, and I feel I have no words, but I know I'm here with you, Quinn, and I am so thankful that you're here and that you're sharing your story for us to hear. And knowing that you're letting us know that, hey, this happened to me, like, hear my story. And if your stories are similar, like, hey, let's talk, or just be here for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so thank you. Thank you for sharing. And I know you have more, and then we have we don't have much time, but thank you. And of course, I really want to continue this conversation, and just because this is not just something that just like something happened to you a long time ago. It's still ongoing to this day. And so, I mean, we can also continue this conversation another time as well. But I just want to say thank you. We
Thank
thank
you.
you so much for this.
Well, yeah, thank you. Please, if I could give you the link for my book, if you wouldn't mind putting that in the show notes. Appreciate it.
Definitely. And as we're closing right now, I know that was heavy for all of us, and I appreciate you sharing this. It's a lot, and also courageous of you to share it as well too, to do this. So so kind of to ending it, what do you want to share with us, like a takeaway from this experience, even as it's still ongoing?
Don't be afraid to voice your concerns, because sooner or later someone's got to listen, and you don't know how that's going to happen. It might be through, a conversation with a friend, and then they know someone, and then the truth comes out. It's important to keep talking until such time as you get heard.
Yeah. I don't have no words for this. I'm really just all in my feels for you and for all the people that you've witnessed during that time, during this time too. You just want justice. And so
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that. And yeah.
Thank you for allowing me to share my story. It's one that I would, and the other thing is with that, I would like to be able to have that closure, and to be able to close that chapter of the book and go, you know what, I'm done with that. I can move on now.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Quinn. Really appreciative. Thank you for being here on this episode with us. So
thank you. I've also started a podcast, Manifestation, Motivation and Passion. So please have a look on Spotify or iHeart, Apple, etc. I'd love for you to have a look.
we'll do. I'll definitely know our listeners know that for sure. So okay.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for listening in. And if you enjoyed this conversation, please review wherever you're listening. And also please look out for new episodes every Tuesday on The Courageous Inner Beast. Thank you for listening in. If you empathize with this conversation and would like to know more about Quinn Carnegie and who she is, please look in the show notes for more information and for the links.